Hi, this is Dave Chenault with Skylight Systems, and in this video we're going to do a deep dive on security in SideKick 365 xRM Ultimate. Now, security is very important for a lot of organizations. You want to limit who can see what if you have multiple companies running under the same instance of SideKick 365 xRM Ultimate. You also might want to limit it based on sales teams, geographies, divisions, products. You get the idea. There's a lot of good reasons why you want to segregate the data and limit who can see certain aspects of it. Now, there's also going to be a good reason that you want sales managers and executives to see everything. And in this video, we're going to walk through how you do all that in the product. So let's get started. The first thing to notice is I'm looking at an account list here, and I have the profile visible. This profile is a security profile that can be assigned when you create an account. And all the things associated with that account, including the opportunities and the documents and the tasks and notes, etc., they also get this profile. And the profile has two groups on it. There'll be a read group, and these people can only read, and there'll be an edit group, and those people can do things like delete, update, or create items in that list. Now, you can apply a profile to an account, to an opportunity, or to a project, and all the things that are associated with that are going to also pick up that profile. So let's just take a quick look here. I have a list of accounts. I've logged in as someone that can see all of Brad's profile items. Now let's switch over to another one. In this case, I'm on the account list again, but I only see the things that belong to the Alan S profile. So again, you could segregate things based upon, let's say, a geography. You could say, hey, you only see things in the West or the East, or a country. Let's say you have a region in the UK versus the US. So that's another example. You could set up profiles, and when the user logs in, whichever profile they belong to, the items shown will be limited to just items in that profile. So let's take a look at how we set up these profiles. What do they look like? On the left-hand side, I've got a module called Profiles, and let's open that up. Now, when we take a look at the profiles in the system, you'll see that there's a read group and there's an edit group. And these are just SharePoint groups that I will show you how to create in just a minute. And so the idea is you create a profile, you assign a group that's a read group, and you assign a group that's a contribute group, and then you manage the members in those groups. This way it makes it really easy to manage security. Let's say things change and you have different people associated with a region. Maybe you have some turnover. Rather than having to go into every single item and try and change the named person associated with that account in that profile, you just go into the group and change the membership in that group, and then everything in the system will reflect that new security requirement. So how do you do this? What are these things? So again, remember, I just create a new item. I add these groups. These groups are over in the site that holds the app. Let's go take a look at that. So I'm in a site here now called xRM Ultimate, and that site holds SideKick 365 xRM. It holds our app, right? And if I look, I can see it here. Now I'm going to go into my site settings. And when I go to my site settings, I'm going to see an option there for people and groups. And let's go take a look at that. And you have to be an admin, of course, to do that. Now this is where all the magic happens, and we're going to go into this in a little bit of detail right now. So let's take a look at all the groups that we've created over here, and then it'll all start to make sense. So when the groups come up, you're going to see that I've got the contribute groups and the edit groups or read groups created, but I also have some other groups in the system. So here's the groups: the Alan S contribute, Alan S read, Brad S contribute, Brad S read. But there's a couple of other important groups here. One is this group called xRM Ultimate Set Security. You can call these whatever you want, but the way it works is the following. If you want to set security in the system, it's not really something you want every user to be able to do. And the way we've set it up is that you will create a group that has what's called full control in SharePoint. and anyone that belongs to that group will be able to set the security on an account, on an opportunity, or on a project. So the idea here is if I open up this group, and remember this is in the site that holds our app, we'll open that up. You'll see that I have Alan Steiner, Brad Sutton, and myself. I'm an admin. And so when I'm in our app and I create a new item, only these people can apply these security profiles to the item. The other users will see the profile field, but when they click on it, it just have nothing. Nothing will show up in that list. Okay? Now let's take a look at some other groups in here. You'll see we have some interesting groups here. We've got this Alan S. Reed group, and let's look at that. Now remember, this is a group associated with a profile, and there's this manager named David So, and he's been added explicitly, but then there's another interesting entry here, this XRM Ultimate Manager group. And the really savvy among you listening to this who really know SharePoint might be wondering what this is, because SharePoint groups cannot hold other SharePoint groups. So this group does not exist in my list. There's no XRM Ultimate Manager group that I created here in my SharePoint site. What I actually did is I made a group over here in the Office 365 admin portion of it. And if I look over here, there's a group in Office 365 that I've created called the XRM Manager group. And if you look here on the left, here's the way it works, right? We have this admin tab, and on the left side there's groups, and you can create groups in Office 365. And then these groups can be used by SharePoint so that you can nest groups. So here's a great example, right? Let's say we had a group of managers that you wanted to have access to a lot of different items in the system, but you didn't want to have to manually maintain that list of managers in every profile. The way you would do that is you would create a group over here in Office 365 in the admin portion, or you can do that with AD and set up federation. And you put group members into this XRM Ultimate Manager group. They can move in, move out, and it'll give them access to the system. And they will be able to then have those assigned to the different read or edit groups that are associated with profiles in SideKick. So that's really it. I know I've gone over a lot of detail here, but the basic idea is you've got profiles. When you create a new item, if you have full control permissions in the app, and that's done through the group that I showed you, and you can make that group name anything you want, you just want to set one up. Then when you come in and create a new account or opportunity or project, this list will be populated with the items in your profiles. And you can create as many of these as you want. And you can even apply them as very easily as long as you have rights to do that. Now the last thing to know is that if you do not assign a profile, let's say you just wanted to have everything in there available to everyone, just don't assign a profile and the item by default will be available to all users. Okay? So if you go through the system and you say, you know, we have certain accounts that we want everyone to see, just don't use the security profile. Also, we have a lot of smaller customers that don't use profiles at all, and that's fine. Their attitude is we want everyone in the company to see everything. We don't need this security, and there's no reason you have to use this. But if you do need to segregate out your data and you want to limit who sees what, including on search, who can see different items in those search results, then you're going to want to use this security scheme that I just went over. And again, just to review, it's got different profiles. Profiles can be assigned. There are groups in those profiles, and the reason to use groups is rather than going into every item that had that security profile assigned, you can just maintain membership in the groups and it'll immediately affect anything in the system with that profile. And those profiles have the groups in them, the edit and the read, and they can contain groups as long as they're AD groups or Office 365 groups. So I hope you found this to be an interesting video. There's a lot of information here, and if you want more details, we have a white paper on all this. You can also email us at info@skylightsystems.com, And that's SKYLITESYSTEMS.com. So very powerful capabilities. You're going to pay a lot of money for this in Salesforce. I think the first one that gives you this is around $75 a month to support Teams. And we give you this in both the Enterprise Edition of Sidekick and the Ultimate Edition that I've been showing you today. So again, this is Dave Chenault with Skylight Systems. Thanks for watching the video, and just reach out to us if you have any questions.